Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. When we are awake, that means this morning when you woke up from sleep, after waking up, do we need to go to sleep again? Second point, example. Once you have eaten food, will we cook again? Similarly, once we have come to know ourselves, will we try to do some sadhana so that we can come to know ourselves again? No. Because the entire illusion, the entire virtual reality which you had, illusory reality and virtual reality, both are part of the relative. They have been broken through, you have pierced through them and come to know. So when you are in deep sleep, you are absolutely ignorant that you are sleeping, that you are relaxed, that you are at one with the reality. You don't know it. But when you wake up, it was so wonderful. I am relaxed now. Will you try to relax again? No. Exactly the same way. The seeker, once he comes to abide in his essential nature, in other words, he becomes at one ment with his own self. The individual self is one with infinite self. This is the shortcoming of the language, that we are saying the individual self becomes one with infinite self. There is no becoming there. There is no becoming of the waker becoming one with the sleep. What is the meaning of waker becoming one with sleep? The meltdown, the dissolution, the annihilation of the waker. He doesn't remain anywhere once sleep begins. Similarly, the sleeper is nowhere once the waking happens. Similarly, there is no individual self once the merging in the infinite happens. This merging is only, the language is used only for the individual, the seeker. From the absolute point of view, the wave is merging back into the ocean. Arey Baba, it was already the ocean before, during and after. So why are you saying it is merging back into the ocean? It's just in matter of speaking, in communication, to express an idea, to express something, because we can only think. Thinking is possible only in the relative, not in the absolute. So when we are in the relative as the individual self, the only language we understand is that of communication. And the best way to communicate is through the language, with all its shortcomings. And what is the language that you should use? Not what you decide, it is the scriptural language. So when we give these examples, when we are given this example, there is no becoming, there is no merging. We are already that, and therefore it was told that the Vaikhari, the gross speech, must give way to the subtle speech, must give way to the causal speech, and that eventually gives way to the Paravani. Paravani is eloquent silence. Paravani is that silence uh, which is conscious silence. It is not dull silence. Dull silence is uh, being without brain. Dull silence is when you have gone to sleep. That is also dull silence because there is nobody, nothing there to think. You are not there to be aware of that sleep also. So we are talking about conscious silence. For whom is this silence being talked about? To the seeker. So that example was taken last time, that we must interact with life in such a manner. At this moment also, you are interacting with life. What is life for you right now? You are sitting down, you are listening, someone is speaking, some words are coming to you, some birds chirping outside, it's a slight nip in the air. All these things, all different stimuli are there. Taking these stimuli as the impetus, we remain in our poise, undisturbed. Undisturbed means the mind does not react to any one of these stimuli. When mind does not react to any stimuli is equal to no thought eruption in the mind. But when our attention is on the stimuli and we are not reacting, this can last only for some time, but it will not be a permanent state. Because some stimuli will come which is very, very strong, very, very attractive, and you will have a thought. But one must practice. One must practice moving around in this world in such a manner that we live with a undisturbed poise. When we do that, automatically our attention will go within. Inside also there is a storm. There is a continuous bombardment of stimuli by way of thoughts. Now the thoughts are not coming from outside because you did the practice of not being disturbed for many months. It doesn't require many months, it's just one decision. But when we dive within, we remain a witness to the thought eruptions, desire eruptions, and do not give heed to it. Continuing to maintain the poise and undisturbed poise, the consequence of it is the mind settles down. Just like a stone thrown in a pond creates some ripples, but afterwards the ripples quieten down and the pond becomes calm and serene. If the pond is shallow, the water will remain disturbed for a long time. If the pond is deep, like the ocean, and you throw a stone, it makes a very small ripple. The deeper we are, meaning the deeper poise we are in, will be directly proportional to non-disturbance at the mind level. Even if thoughts come, even if stimuli come as thoughts, even if desires from the subconscious they appear, because we are so deep in our poise, we are so deep in our abidance, we are so deep in our being as the being, none of these stimuli, none of these impetuses in our mind are able to make a dent in our poise. But to dive in deep into ourselves and to continue react with the world outside, it's a no-brainer. It will never happen. We have to sort out the outside. How do you sort out the outside? Not by dealing with every object of the world outside, not dealing with every person in the world outside. No. The best way to deal with the outside is come back to yourself. Be yourself. Be aware, not of the world. Be aware of the conscious self. Don't be aware of the thoughts, of the breath. Be aware of the one who is observing all this. And when there are no disturbances from the world, from the breath, from the thought, and you are still awake, mind is quiet, listen to every word. Mind is quiet, you are awake as the witness, as the Sakshi. Remain as that witness. Remain as that conscious person who is not wanting to get entangled in the internal world of the mind or the external world of the universe. Maintain this poise for as long as it lasts. Access it 3, 4, 5, 10 times a day. Slowly, slowly, it becomes the norm. This becomes our natural disposition. Just as a new mother who has just given to the birth to a child, the motherhood expresses naturally through her. She doesn't have to practice to be a mother. Just like that, the one who is awakened to his conscious self, and when you practice this in small doses, many times a day, over it becomes our natural state. Thereafter, the poise never leaves us. Just like motherhood never leaves the young mother, the poise, the awareness, the forgetfulness of the self, this doesn't happen to this person. Maintaining the poise, being in the poise, as the poise, this is how great masters live. Self realization, in other words, is living an undisturbed existence. When looked at it from the outside,